Good evening and welcome to Tinkering with Edkelar. In this episode, I'm going way back retro. By golly, is that the date? No, not that far back. You probably remember the dictaphones I restored so far. Don't worry, the other two are still in the queue. But this time, I have a predecessor of those devices. No, not quite. I am talking about the grandfather of magnetic audio, wire recording. This was pretty much the first commercially available non-mechanical system out there. It was the go-to option for dictation and wiretapping of the early 20th century, peaking about for a decade in the 1950s. The device I snatched up on eBay is a Webster Chicago Model 80. As you can see, the case is pretty scuffed up and all the fittings are rusted. I decided to redo the outside as much as possible to have at least a close approximation of what this device might have looked like in its prime. In this episode, I'm going to focus on the case, leaving the electronics and mechanics for next time. Disassembly is of course the first step again. With tube-based devices, the "don't turn it on, take it apart" is mandatory. There are capacitors in these things that degrade into shorts and cause tubes to just burn out. To avoid almost certain damage, it is a good idea to first assess the circuit before putting power to it. Taking out the mechanism and removing the panels next. The frame has a strange coloring, as if it was made of copper. I'll have to look into that. The lid and base of the box separate, and the angled part of the device is used to keep the power cord and microphone behind a hinged flap. That piece of wood originally seemed to have a leather strap to hold it shut, but that has been torn off and replaced with some duct tape, not improving the looks of the interior. The flap also is badly warped. Taking off all the fittings. Oh boy, there were only a few screws. Most of them are held in place with a kind of nail that has two prongs and are bent over on the inside. These are a nightmare to remove. At a time I considered rebuilding the case even. After finally removing all the fittings and vinyl cover, I cleaned up the outside of the case until it was smooth to the touch. Some minor bits of wood tore out when peeling off the cover. I used some liquid wood to rebuild the missing parts, as the new vinyl would wrinkle otherwise. I start with the new cover on the smaller edges, as that includes the curved corners that need some stretching. A regular tube of glue serves me well here, because it gets tacky quick and it holds the vinyl rather well along the edges. The corners, however, were a bit more demanding. I needed some string to hold them down while drying. Seems that I managed to get out most of the wrinkles, pretty much like the original, and after trimming, it started to look the part. For the flat sides, I opted for spray glue for a more even distribution, taping off the finished edges first. Again, some trimming is needed. The different sections meet in a little groove where they are held in place by a piece of string. I wondered if I could use some decorative wire instead, but it wouldn't have enough friction and kept popping out. The next alternative was a piece of black string. The warped panel bit can be cut from a piece of scrap plywood. Good thing I keep small pieces around. This one fit perfectly. For the inside lining, I found the fabric of a room divider works perfectly well, as long as the glue doesn't seep through. The fittings needed some sanding, or at least wire wheeling. They all had some rust on them, and the gold finish was flaking off on other parts. Ideally, those would get a bit of electroplating, but I don't have any gold available for that, so paint shall have to do. I put down a base coat of black first, followed by golden effect paint, which never seemed to get an even coating, no matter how thin I lay it out. The front panel and top cover plate are painted and also a bit scuffed. I pondered a bit about how to deal with those, but went for repaint eventually. The labels on the panel might be a slight issue. I'll rework those later, they are simple enough. After a bit of sanding and 2 layers of paint, the panels look awesome again. The microphone and bottom cover also get a new coat of paint. No parts seem to share the same color in the original though. Refitting the hardware is a bit of a challenge. The nails wouldn't hold on their own, so I decided to put in a bit of epoxy. The person upgrading the case after the next 70 years will have to find another solution. And that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the first part of the wire recorder restoration. See you next time! I am talking about a rather short-lived is not quite true, it was there for 50 years.